everybody. Welcome to the summertime budget version of Monday Morning Musing. Steve here. Hey, we're doing a series on context and culture and talking about basic things. We're not even getting to the deep technical things, but basic things where a failure to understand language, context, and culture is going to get us really some problems. How about fear and the fear of the Lord? And, you shouldn't have fear, and perfect love casts out fear. Well, you need to know, for us, fear is a state of being afraid. That's it. I'm afraid. And you shouldn't have any kind of fear. For the ancients, Greeks, those speaking the Greek language, there's actually 6 different types of fear. 6. So if you do counseling or mentoring or discipleship and you're just, you're doing a Bible study on fear and you just think there's just phobos, Phobos is the basic definition of fear, and you don't understand that Greeks, ancient people, have broken that down into 6 different specific types. You're being hamstrung in your ability to really help people. So in this quick Monday morning musing, I'm just going to hit you with the 6 types just to give you an idea how nuanced it can be. There is a fear that the best English word is called shrinking or shrinking back. That's a fear that's based on a dread about something that is going to take place, an anticipatory dread. Then there's a fear based on shame. And I do a whole hour on this one alone. Sometime if you want to do an online video session with that, send me an email message. We'll set up a day and we'll do a whole hour on this alone. But there's a fear that comes from the anticipation of blame. It's normally the most prevalent and most debilitating. That's what most people who are generally mentally well struggle with, particularly Christians that don't understand the gospel very well. Shame that arises from the anticipation of blame for defect or fault. Then there's a fear that is like disgrace. It's a fear that comes from a deed or an act that has already been done and has yet to be discovered. Oh my gosh, I buried grandma in the backyard and someday they're going to find out. Or actually in Alaska, when we lived there, I knew there was a guy that killed his wife, cut her up in little pieces and buried her in the backyard. Yeah, welcome to Alaska. And that guy had fear of being discovered, and he was. We actually were invited to dinner with the guy next door, and the state trooper's tape was around his property and saying, "What's going on?" "Oh yeah, he cut up his wife and buried her in the backyard." Fear from being caught. Then there's a fear that could best be described as consternation. And that's imaginary fear. Believers deal with that one too. Fear that comes from unreal or imagined issues. Otherwise, it's not related to a circumstance, anything tangible in reality. It's an irrational fear from the imagination. Then there was a fear that could best be translated in English as panic. And that's the action that derives from creating an imaginary consternation. And then there's another fear that can best be described in English as anxiety. And that's the fear that comes from failure or fear of failure, fear of a lack of success. And in our performance-driven culture, there are many people who deal with anxiety. So even in just this brief punch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've shown you 6 different definitions, 6 different ways the ancient people looked at fear. So imagine you're trying to help somebody who struggles with fear and you don't know this. You're going to give them Bible verses about phobos, Phobos, the basic definition of fear. You're going to talk to them about the fear of the Lord, being reverential awe. And then you're going to give them the Bible verses about, perfect love casts out fear, so we shouldn't have fear. Now go home and study and pray that God will deliver you from fear. Well, which one of these trees are you barking up? Do you see? And what if somebody's problem is a shame-based fear, and you think it's a disgrace-based fear? You're not going to be able to help them, and you're going to most likely confuse them. And that's why a lot of so-called Bible-based counseling is terrible. It does more harm than good because it's often done by well-meaning people who don't know what they're talking about. And for today, that's what he said.